Hello, thank you so much for taking the time out to listen. My name is Nicole, and today I want to focus on the exit plan. The exit plan when it comes to getting out of a situation that is keeping you emotionally and or physically bound. Now, this could be on the job. It doesn't have to be at home dealing with someone or some group. This could be a situation going on at the church. This could also connect with any type of organization that you might be a part of. But whatever or whoever it is that you feel is suffocating you in some way, oppressing you, keeping you in the dark about things, basically being that child of darkness that doesn't want you walking in the light, you need an exit plan. And I'll tell you that in my own life, the Lord showed me where people were supportive and where people were not. And so what happens is systematically over a period of time, it could be days, months, or even years, God will set it up so that we have an exit plan. Now, I will tell you that a lot of these situations require money. And some of you all, that is why you have yet to leave, yet to put in a resignation letter. Money's a factor. And so one of the things that I've noticed that takes place with many individuals who have to flee a situation quickly, okay? They may have had plenty of time at one point to get out of it, but now they've got to just go, is they will either have money put aside and they will go to the nearest shelter, nearest hotel, motel, what have you, or even a relative's house, and they'll put some money in their hand. But there is some type of money put away. If the individual already sees the future, he or she is going to have additional income. They're not going to have just one income source. So some of you all, you want to get out, but you're still relying on just the one income source. You have to have multi-stream income. And for those of you all who need further understanding, you can easily put in the search engine multi-stream income and look at all the different ways people are making money. And even if you don't like A, B, and C or what is in the description box, okay, then look for D, E, and F. Let's not stay there in the negativity and the criticism, okay? And even if you are already busy doing about 2 or 3 different things related to money, if you have children that are 13 years and young, or you got children who are tweens and teens, there are a number of things you can put them to work to do so that they're getting money from someone else other than you. Okay? Exit plans are serious. They are not to be taken lightly, because once you've made up in your mind that you want to get out of a system, situation, or away from an individual or group, you take it seriously. It is like a job. You are on that exit plan every single day. No, there is no Sabbath days. Okay. When the Lord is at work, He is setting it up so that you are doing what you can to get out of a situation like yesterday. Okay. So if you wanted a break, you should have took it already. People who are determined to get away from an oppressor are putting the work in, my friends. They're doing it on and off the internet. They are connecting with different people. Sometimes it's not about money. It's about networking. It's about, is it possible if you can help me with this particular project? Oh, by the way, do you have any necessary resources to help me? Because I'm looking to just cut back on some things. Sometimes it's not about needing more money, but it's about saving the money that you already have, finding the things that are going to give you better prices, okay, for the services that you already have. So it's a matter of doing a little research, picking up the phone and going with the lower rate so that you got more money in your pocket. Okay. And you can take a lunch hour to do that. You can get some friends or family members to help you out. But either way, once again, You are looking to become independent, not dependent. Okay? Some of you all, God has even used these situations to get you to start thinking about your calling. Because if you've spent so many years doing things for other people who are oppressive, sometimes these situations turn around in such a way where now you're the one who has started your business. Now you're the one that's out there connecting with different people. Now you're the one doing what it is to become independent from that person. Because maybe if that person hadn't been in your life, you would have never started your business. You would have never, got connected with certain people. You would have never realized what your true potential is. So sometimes a bad situation turns out to be quite positive. It becomes a motivator for you to do finally what God's been calling you to do for many years. Your exit plan has to be swift. If it is one of those situations where you feel your life is in danger. So there is no, I'm just going to take my time. I need about 3 to 6 months for this. And then I need another 6 to 8 months for this. When you're in a situation where your life has been threatened, where someone has done any number of things to even attempt to take your freedom away or make you ill. Okay, because you got some people who are real sick. They'll come up with ways to make you sick, okay? When you know that these things have already taken place, the exit plan has to be put into motion swiftly. And if it means you have to beg for money or borrow money, not steal, notice I didn't say steal, but beg or borrow for money to get up out of a situation, then that's what you do. You start listing some people who you can pick up the phone and talk to. You also go on the internet and check out what resources are out there for people who are in serious danger. And if you feel like something's about to go on before you close your eyes tonight, then that's when you're going to have to get the police involved. And that will buy you some time. Because while that person is in jail or while you got that restraining order in place or what have you, you can be getting, your stuff packed. You can get the help of other people and then be on your way. Now, for some of you all, maybe your situation is not that serious where you need to get law enforcement and attorneys and so forth. OK, but maybe you still might have to get law enforcement and attorneys once you and your children or whoever, is also in trouble out of the situation. You can be able to just sit down a little while and write down your plan. So when you got time, you can write down your plan. And then you can go ahead and start making the phone calls. You can start doing the footwork and, of course, building your network of new people. Not mutual friends, right? Because mutual friends, they get weak, they go back, they tell people stuff. Okay? So you don't go and talk to people at work about what you're doing when you know that those people are connected to the person who can do any number of things to pay you back for wanting to leave. Okay? You keep everything quiet when you're on the move. Some people, though, they're very open about some things, but they're able to do that because the person that they're talking to is in agreement. For instance, a husband and wife, they're both in agreement that the relationship's not working. So she knows that he's already making efforts to pack up and leave. He already knows that she is making efforts to pack up and leave. So in situations like that, where two parties agree and everybody is pretty much civil, then yes, you can go ahead and, what are we going to do about the kids and, all this other stuff. But when people are not acting civilly, okay, you don't want to be letting folks know everything. And even if you do have a friend who would never tell, you don't know. You really don't know. So if they're connected with that partner or that manager or the brother or sister in Christ or the pastor or what have you, you just don't want to be telling them everything that's going on. Another thing you want to do, we talked about the money, right? Saving money, finding ways to make more money. Okay. We talked about coming up with the plan. Okay. If depending on what your situation is, you might have to leave a little sooner. If you do have some time, then of course you can be able to outline your plan, enlisting the help of possibly law enforcement or attorneys or both. And then, of course, the next thing that you would do is, if you are in a situation where you need to move or pack, then you do. If you are at the workplace, then you would put out a resignation letter if you already know that you've got other income coming in. Okay. And then for, let's say, a church setting or a social group or organization, you would send them a letter, okay, once you got everything taken care of, okay? You don't want to let people know prematurely and then you end up missing out, okay, on possible resources and so forth. Because once people catch wind, especially devious people catch wind that you're on the move, they are going to try to systematically keep you, or they're going to be vengeful. Okay, they may use someone or group to slow you down. Okay. So in situations like this, it's okay to let people think whatever they're going to think in terms of your longevity. And, you know, you have this facade up that says, she looks like she's going to be here for a while. You may have even done or said some things that make it appear like you are going to be around, when the reality is that that is not the truth. But it's okay for them to think whatever they're going to think, because you don't want to put your safety at risk, okay? And you don't want to be that person who ends up 6 feet deep because you underestimated someone, or you assumed that someone was in your corner when they weren't, okay? And then for some of you others, you don't want to end up burning bridges at your new job behind somebody who is upset with you because you left. Okay, and don't use these people for references. When you know you have enemies, don't do it. These people, once again, will find ways to slow things down. One other thing, if you do have some type of supportive network that your enemy or enemies don't know anything about, alert your network to some things that they might do or say. Okay, because sometimes people don't share how deep their drama is. Okay, what kind of power an enemy might have over them. And so they may use the new network to not help you. Okay, if they catch wind that you have this group that is helping you out. So they may say things, really mean things, to keep those people from helping you. This is why it is so crucial not to let people know everything about you, even in relationships 10, 15, 20 plus years. They don't need to know every friend that you have. They don't need to know every family member and where they live. You need a hideaway. People lose their minds due to all sorts of things. And that person that you met yesterday isn't necessarily that person who you fell in love with or liked or appreciated and all this other stuff today. And sometimes people, they confuse themselves with that old person and now that new person. I knew a person who, he was good for changing his personality. He could be so nice. And sometimes my mind would trick me into thinking, oh, this is the old guy again, right? The one that, you know, I was cool with. We went places, we did this and that. And then I spent a little time with them and that ugly man showed up. So sometimes your mind will play tricks on you and tell you everything's okay and all right, and that, you know, you're jumping the gun and this person is really good for you. Please, if you wouldn't even be considering on leaving a person if they were good. You wouldn't even be thinking about an exit plan if the organization was to your liking, to your benefit. You wouldn't even have all these doubts and worries and stress if everything was okay. But your mind will trick you. Sometimes your heart will do the same thing. Memories will flood your mind. And all of this stuff the enemy will use to keep you bound. So for those of you all who are looking for additional income, for some of you all who's looking for maybe another bank account, right? Because you need to start putting money away that he or she doesn't know about. Please do check the description box. I have a number of links that are related to money. I don't want people to end up being caught up in all sorts of binding situations another 5, 10, 15 plus years. Okay, so this is why, people like myself will take out time trying to help people out, trying to give them the necessary resources. Some of you all, your feet are ready, but your mind isn't, your heart isn't. If you are in an intimate relationship, I suggest you look at some of what these women and men have gone through over there on Laboring to Love an Abusive Mate. And maybe that will give you the motivation. Because just like we need motivation sometimes to get into God's word, to, go to the church or to sit down and talk with somebody that can help us, you're going to need motivation for some of you all in these messed up relationships to get up out. Sometimes you just need a reminder that that person that you are with, he may be nice today, she may be nice today, but tomorrow may be a different story. There have been people who have been smiling in each other's face, so grateful to have a family. And then years later, you find out that person was murdered by someone who claimed that they love them and love the family just as much. Okay? And for some of you all who have these issues dealing with your children, maybe it's just trying to get away from your child. Okay? Your adult child who turns out to be abusive, who ends up doing similar things that an abusive partner has done. Go over to whenmotherscry.blogspot.com. There's some motivation over there. You remember when the stresses, the upset, bringing this baby into the world, right? Dealing with the family, dealing with in-laws and so forth. And now this child is older and has a nerve to want to be abusive toward you. Oh no, nothing you brought in this world should ever hurt you, disrespect you, lie to you, anger you, abuse you like what you've gone through with other people. Absolutely not. So you might have to get up out of a situation dealing with an adult son or daughter. This is why parents should never rely on their children to be taking care of them, especially if they know that they weren't, let's just be honest, they know they weren't back in the day good to their children. Okay? So why would you even want to trust your child who has been used, abused, mistreated, or what have you by yourself possibly, or another parent or somebody who you drop them off with? I mean, that's walking right there into a trap. But now that you're aware, for some of you all, it's time to start working toward change. And there are resources out there for seniors, plenty of them. You have to income qualify for some of them so that you can live on your own. Okay. And there are caretakers that will show up as long as you show some type of independence. There are caretakers who will show up once a week, maybe 2-3 times a week to help you in your apartment complex. So get yourself on the waiting list. Okay. Because a lot of these senior homes, they, are very, very popular. People are living longer. So unfortunately, there's the waiting list. But definitely get yourself on a waiting list at one of those senior housing complexes. And some of them are not in the way that you think, because some people will say, oh, nursing homes and all this other stuff. I don't want to see my mother or my, dad. And, I don't want to be there. Well, some of these places are not in the way that you think. So do your necessary research. Okay. And maybe it's a relative that is in a very, very stressful situation right now. If you do the necessary research, get that person's name on some list before long, they are out of that situation along with their SSI check. Because a lot of times people just want folks to live with them because they want to collect their checks. Okay. And some of you all, you need to be in the know about this sort of thing. If you got a family member or a friend and folks are taking up so much time with them, you also need to know where's their money going to. If they're not taking care of their bills and everything else, that person they're so close to might be the one that's taking their money. And that person is also the one that's oppressing them too, possibly. So if you just sense something's not right with some of these folks coming into your family members' lives, you need to pay attention and you need to be proactive and you need to make sure that you have a presence. It's important that you do these things. Okay, because sometimes it's not about us. It's about other people who need protection. Okay, from folks who like to take advantage. So once again, check out the description box for any potential links that might be helpful. Okay, I thank you as always for taking the time out your busy schedule to listen. You've been listening to YouTube NM Enterprise 7. Feel free to subscribe. Also, if you haven't donated, we do welcome donations. And once again, check that description box. Hopefully there's some things that will help you out. Help out a teenager who might be in a situation, a senior citizen, a co-worker, a friend, a family member. You know, sometimes these messages aren't about you, right? It's about other people. And God is giving you the necessary resources to just go about helping those individuals, okay? Well, that is it. Blessings to you.